We're here with Mitch Stott in the down and locked booth in Toledo, and long gone are the days of our planes that were just simply a fuel tank, an engine, and a simple receiver. Now the electronics that goes into our planes have gotten a lot more complicated, but that doesn't mean there's a lot more benefits in it.
That's right.
And I've been talking to Mitch this morning, and he's been showing me a new system, and Mitch, I'm telling you, as your system you showed me is called the Flight Commander system. I'm really kind of excited about it. It's a digital system that really, just kind of tell me about it. I mean, tell people about it. It really kind of gives us a lot more control over our planes. I mean, tell me a little bit about it, Mitch.
Ken, 6 years ago, we started Down and Lock based on the fact of making it easy for the customer to have an electric retract system.
Right.
Now, we built a very dependable name in that, a lot of trust in our company. With that, being an electronics company, then we started to branch out into other electronic venues of the RC trade. Now, the latest thing that we've done is to allow the customer to fully control and program his airplane on his existing radio system. And it doesn't have to be digital servos, it doesn't have to be programmable servos, you don't have to have computer radios, any of that. And the reason that we've seen that was because you have an airplane with multiple servos on a given control surface.
Yeah, a lot of our planes now, you get big third scale
Yes.
planes will have 3 and 4 servos on an aileron.
Yeah, you take like the 3D airplanes, the big scale 3D airplanes, or the big warbirds, like you said, multiple servos on an aileron or an elevator, rudder. And the problem is in order to get all of those servos on that one control surface working together, you got to have expensive components, radios and servos. And if you don't, then none of these work together, and they don't work efficiently, and they rob power, and at some points burn out because they're struggling. So the way that we're able to do this is we take the programming out of the radio and we put it in the plane. You take your radio and your receiver. Now your servo leads come out of your receiver into our programming boards, and this is referred to as the Flight Commander.
So this is the receiver. This is the receiver that you use from your radio, and then
correct.
And then this is the first component of your system.
You just the customer uses his receiver no matter what the brand is, and no matter what the channel output is. We can handle up to 14 channel inputs, but you come out of your receiver and you go into our Flight Commander, which is our motherboard.
And then this would be placed in the fuselage.
Correct.
Okay.
Now then, this is placed in the fuselage near the receiver. Now we send that signal of all those channels, up to 14 channels, through one single signal wire.
Plus a power lead from a battery.
And a power lead from the battery. We separate the two. But the real benefit here at first is in removal of a wing, you just disconnect one wire, no matter how many servos you've got.
Okay.
So now you greatly reduce clutter, wire weight, length, and cost. Now, when you come into the power, if you have all these multiple servos, you need to be able to power these with sufficient wire gauge to supply the proper amount of amperage. We do that through this system also. It's a separate power bus. So now you've got servo control and servo feed of sufficient power. And the end result is this. You use your radio, you can gang any number of servos together, any number of servos on any channel.
So this unit here, I can actually place in the wing,
yes,
or out in the wing, or out in the tail, or any portion of the plane, and it would control the servos in that. And is there a limit to how far away from
No, there's no limit. That's the thing. Previously, there would have been limits on wire length versus amperage loss. With this, there's no limit on how far you run this signal wire, because it's just carrying the signal. That's all there are to it. Now, with the power supplied and the signal supplied, now the programming comes into play.
Okay, Mitch, one of the things is a lot of guys, they're spending a lot of money on their radios. You know, I do it myself, I know you have, everybody. We buy our radios because they have certain features that let me program mixings, they let me program servo speed, servo reversing, certain individuals. So now with your system, am I going to lose all those features that I've spent money for on my radio?
No, you're going to gain those features, meaning this. It doesn't matter, Ken, if you have an expensive radio or not. you still use that radio. And you still use all of its features if you choose. But where that radio falls short is where this comes into play. Meaning that you're going to sit here and you say, all right, I want to set my endpoint on my aileron servo. All right? Well, that's going to limit you to one. Now you got to have an auxiliary channel if you need to set an endpoint on another aileron channel, because you can't set endpoints on different servos on the same channel, all right? Or matching or anything customarily through your standard computer radio. But this you can. If you need to set endpoints or matching on 5 different aileron servos on one channel, you can do it in this system.
So I can program your system to control those servos in addition to what my radio is already doing.
You to do. That's
so
exactly
really,
right.
I'm actually gaining programming that I didn't have before.
You are gaining programming that you did not have before and theoretically could not have. And that's the whole point. It works with any radio system on the market, and it enhances it. And it simplifies the clutter.
Okay, so now I've got these remotes, and I see you've got 2 of them here. Say I've got 2 wings on my plane, of course. I want to put 1 remote in each of them. I've got a tail, so I've got another remote. Say I want to run one up to the nose to control my throttle. How many of these remotes can I have on the system?
You can put up to 7 remotes off of one motherboard. Now, for clarity, we refer to these as the flight bosses and the flight commander.
Okay.
So, but in mother and remote, you can have up to 7 remote boards off of one remote. If you need more than that, you can use 2 remotes and double up and basically have 14 boards.
So your system can really kind of grow to what you need.
Anything you need it to be. That's the flight commander challenge. If you can come up with something it can't do, we'll give it.
Okay, now you were telling me you've got a kind of a challenge here. What is this challenge?
That challenge is exactly that. If a customer can come to us and say that I have an airplane and I need to set it up or configure it realistically in a way that this is not adaptable, then this system will give it to you at no cost.
So this is really kind of like, it's gone way beyond the digital bus systems that the big names have come out with, because this is a lot more than that. You can program your stuff a lot more than what they can do.
Exactly. The big names force you to buy their product, and they force you to buy a special servo.
And with that, that's another question I have. I can use digital, analog, and I see here you've got a micro servo.
Anything.
I can use any servo, digital, analog, retract servos, anything?
Anything, it doesn't matter. And you can run your other systems. This right here is our ignition battery eliminator. This light, LED light, represents ignition on, all right? Ignition on. You see, anything, switches, your flaps, your dials, everything works through this system. Doesn't matter what channel it is, how many channels it is, or what radio manufacturer it is, all with basic, standard, inexpensive equipment.
Well, I tell you, Mitch, this is really kind of exciting. I would love to get a chance to put one of these in my planes and try it. I'm gonna have to go get my wife and beg for some money.
Well, and let's touch on that 1 second. We've made this affordable in our opinion.
Yes, that was my next question. Right. What is the cost of a big?
The cost of this is basically broken down into $60 per panel. And as is shown here, you don't have to have the whole system to get the benefits of portions of it. So, if you just needed 1 remote board that can handle two channels, any 2 channels, then that's $60. If you need 2 remote boards, it's $120. If you need this motherboard, that's another $60, and so on and so on. So it's broken down into $60 panels. And in this case, you've got 4 components, so you'd be looking at $240. But what that allows you to do is limitless. And what it saves you, I've had customers tell me, I just paid $200 for a programmable servo. 1. You know, that's what I'm saying. You don't need, and they come by here sick.
So you could, for just about that same cost, you could get a whole programmable plane,
the whole
radio
is
system.
Exactly right. Correct.
Well, Mitch, I'm hoping we can get this into some systems out there, because this really.
It has got to go through its proving stage. We're ready to start doing that.
Now, have you had this in the air and in the planes?
We have not had this in the air. We have tested this and programmed it into its various broken down components. This is the prototype system altogether. Flight testing will begin on this next week, and from that we will start. We'll do our own flight testing. Then we'll start to filter this out. Production units should be available in about 2.5 months.
Okay, so about midsummer we should start seeing these available for sale.
Available for sale, and we're looking for dealers to help us carry this product.
And
as well.
your website they can go to is www.downandlock.com.
That is correct.
So they can kind of keep an idea, keep a watch there to find out when these are going to be available.
They will be in the coming week and a half. Full text about the availability and the functionality of this will be on the website. All information will be available there, as well as we'll be keeping everything up to date on when everything is coming together. Yes.
Well, Mitch, I sure appreciate you spending some time with us.
All right. Well, Ken, Ron Word, and I am Down and Lock. We appreciate it, you and all the customers. So
thank you much.